Just as I'm about to leave, Jason Mamoa, you pull me back in. So this is the Nerd Man, and you are here watching With Enough Prep Time. So again, this unfolding saga between Warner Brothers and Ray Fisher has taken on a new dimension, which I want to just cover. So Jason Momoa, son of a bitch, I'm just about to go to bed, getting ready for like work, and he comes out and drops a bomb on us. So recently, Jason Momoa just tweeted something that is incredibly illuminating, and I'm going to break it down with you guys. So here we go. So this is a new tweet that Jason Momoa sent out today that says, "This shit has to stop and needs to be looked at Ray 8 Fisher." I never knew realized there's an 8 in the middle of that. "And everyone else who experienced what happened under the watch of Warner Brothers Pictures needs proper investigation. I just think it's fucked up that people released a fake Frosty announcement without my permission to try to distract from Ray Fisher speaking up about the shitty way we were treated on Justice League reshoots. I stand with Ray Fisher. Aloha." So I just read that, like, and really looked at it for the first time. I guess he doesn't have a lawyer that looks at these tweets that he sends, Jason Momoa, because, well, let's share the screen so we can read this together, because that's really interesting in comparison with what Jason Momoa, what Ray Fisher has accused Warner Brothers of. Now, this adds major credence to what Ray Fisher has been saying was happening. There's no doubt about it. I said it before on my last stream that Ray Fisher, that Jason Momoa and Kirstie Clements coming out is a massive deal. Kirstie Clements more so because she's never been, part of this kind of Snyder group that has formed around like these people who feel that they, for whatever reason, maybe because Zack Snyder cast them out of obscurity, or Zack cast them when their career was, Jason Momoa was really typecast, so he didn't. He was known as the silent guy from the Game of Thrones. So he really owed Zack Snyder a hell of a lot. By the way, if you're watching, please do like, give me a high five, like, subscribe, and please comment. The comment section is open and live. So I want to hear what everyone else thinks. What are you thinking of what is happening? If there's anyone watching at all, just give me some comments and I will certainly talk to you. So as I said, Kirstie Clements meant more than what Ray Fisher said than what Jason Momoa said, in my opinion, just because she's never really stood as, part of this Snyder cult. She doesn't seem to be one of those people who feels like she would owe, Zack Snyder or Ray Fisher or anything. But Ray Fisher and Jason Momoa. So Jason Momoa owes Zack Snyder a lot for changing the image of how he is seen in Hollywood after Game of Thrones, and Ray Fisher owes Zack everything. So it's like, if somebody insults his movie, I can easily see that as being seen as abuse, or if someone's just a bit of an asshole on set, they can see it as abuse. But this is really something. However, I do want to look at the language. the investigation, I just think it's fucked up that people released a fake Frosty announcement without permission to try and distract Ray Fisher speaking up about the shitty way we were treated on the Justice League reshoots. And I want to see that, actually. So he knew this a few weeks ago about Frosty the Snowman, so he must have been waiting. So he's been in contact with Ray Fisher this whole time, and he's been waiting to drop that. In fact, he was never, he was never going to be voicing Frosty the Snowman. So he must have been waiting to drop this for when it was relevant, or when it would have the most impact. Serious stuff went down, he says. I wanted to see when that first was announced, the Frosty the Snowman. Jason Momoa to star in live-action Frosty the Snowman. This is July 1st. Because people are claiming that obviously Jeff Johns and John Berg were behind this because they were the ones producing that movie. So for him to say he isn't going to be on that movie does say a lot, meaning he does not want to work with Jeff Johns or John Berg again. I want to see if when it was announced, I'm going to check this when I'm offline, but if when it was announced, it was said, because usually you won't see in an announcement about a movie who the producers are. It really doesn't matter. It matters who's starring in the movie, right? Doesn't matter who's the producer. So if in all of the stories, when they first came out, the deadline story that Jason Momoa was going to be in Frosty the Snowman, that it actually says that Jeff Johns and John Berg are producing it, then something very, very fishy happened there. And actually, this is the first time and the first thing. And please, if you're in the comments or if you're watching, please, even if it's just a single viewer, do make sure you ask any questions and I'll answer them. But if it was the first announcement that Ray Fisher, that Jason Momoa was going to be in that film, and they were somehow still, mentioning the producers of the film. That's very, very odd and very, very fishy behavior, and seems like it was a setup. So I'm going to try and find the Deadline article that first mentioned that that Jason Momoa was going to be voicing Frosty the Snowman, because that's crazy. If they did that to distract from the investigation, what a silly thing to do. I mean, even if you're like the evil megalomaniac corporation, why the fuck would you announce a fake film that someone's in to say that he's going to be working again with people that he doesn't like and doesn't want to work with again? That is absolutely crazy as a gamble. What did they hope? That Jason Momoa was just going to turn around and say, oh, Frosty the Snowman, that's a pretty good deal. And I can, because I was saying the other day, like, why would you betray your friend? I'm not saying I would never, ever, for like millions and millions of dollars, betray someone I care about. You can't say that. Like, you can't, like, because I would think, oh, in my head, me having millions of dollars, I'll be able to get them back. I'll be able to pay them back eventually by having those millions and millions of dollars. But the point is, like, certain opportunities arise, and depending where you're at as a person, depends on whether you would take that opportunity or not. So I'm thinking to myself, like, you are not a good friend, Jason Momoa. He seems to be an actual good friend, but you would not be a good friend, Jason Momoa, if you're going behind Ray Fisher's back and going in Frosty the Snowman movies with the same people who were abusing him, apparently, and giving them some, like giving them credibility by being in their movie. And essentially, I don't know if it was a racial thing. I don't know if it was, just really, really, people saying horrible things to people on set, calling them, throwing tantrums, getting angry. Whatever they were doing, I think they were putting the hammer down because they wanted to get this Justice League movie done, and they wanted to get make it as little feeling like a Snyder movie and as much like a Marvel movie as possible. They basically pulled, I mean, you can imagine if Michael Keaton had have stayed on for Batman Returns and Batman Forever, how the relationship would have been between him and Schumacher as the director. They really had to get rid of the actors as such. Both Val Kilmer and of course George Clooney famously, because it was a completely studio mandated. And I've always said this. Justice League is the worst DCEU movie. Anyone who says it's Suicide Squad is fucking lying to themselves. They probably haven't gone back to watch Suicide Squad, because it's a 20 times better movie. Justice League is worse than my most hated movie in the DCEU, which is Man of Steel. I fucking hate Man of Steel. Okay, but I still recognize it as a better movie than Aquaman, a better movie than Justice League. And it's a better movie than, I'll say it's about on par with Birds of Prey. They're about the same level, Man of Steel and Birds of Prey. But it's all about this, in terms of what was happening during that period, was the attempt at marvelizing the DC universe. And I just can't imagine that John, the guy who I read his comics, and he's done such great stuff, but also the tone of his comics, which is Jeff Johns. I can't imagine him pushing for DC to be more like Marvel. Maybe he wanted to compromise and say, okay, to the studio execs, I've got a way of making it distinctly DC, but having it be more lighthearted and hopeful. I think I can see Jeff Johns getting behind that, but just marvelizing, and turning it into, everything into like, like their products just to sell toys, the kind of movies that Scorsese was criticizing. I wonder if that was something that Jeff Johns was spearheading. And if he was spearheading it, was he being a complete and utter dick about it? Aquaman did well. Jeff Johns was behind Aquaman. We have to remember that. So Jason Momoa complaining about Jeff Johns when Jeff Johns was free to do his own project. Aquaman made $1 billion. Same with Shazam. He was working on that as well as producer. Did really well critically, most critically acclaimed movie apart from Wonder Woman. So the direction he was going in wasn't so bad for the DCU. I just think the Snyder fans just completely rejected that tone just out of hand. It wasn't just like Marvel. It was something actually different, but they didn't like it unless it was really, really super dark and serious, even though those movies were in some ways more juvenile. I think Man of Steel is actually more juvenile than Shazam. It might have a more serious tone, but it's got the kind of serious tone that you'd expect of a teenager going through those, tumultuous years of just being really edgy and emo and just arguing with his parents for no reason, and nobody understands me kind of. That's the kind of vibe for me that Snyder's movies have. I find actually movies like Shazam, not Aquaman's shit, but I find movies like Shazam much, much more sophisticated. But in any case, Jason Momoa dropped this bomb, and the idea here is that, I mean, all right, let's take the statement one by one and see what we've got here. This shit has to stop and needs to be looked at. Ray Fisher and everyone else who experienced what happened under the watch of Warner Brothers Pictures needs a proper investigation. So all the people, he's saying all the people, so there was more than him and Ray Fisher. So they're trying to expand this out to many people. Maybe Ray Fisher has nothing that he can, put forward that was done to him. So he's appealing to other people who may have been more likely to have been abused on set, which is, the other cast, the other crew and lesser, basically the crew. I think the SFX guys probably got it a lot from Joss Whedon. I think it's just fucked up that people released a fake Frosty announcement without my permission to try and distract. Warner Brothers, what were you doing? Unless that's completely fake and he's making that up, which I can't see him doing, why on earth would they announce that? To smooth things over with him? What did they think was going to happen? So my permission to try. And they probably gave, now you think about it, because it's Warner Brothers who gave him Dune. They've probably been trying to sort, make up for the debacle that was Justice League and the production. Oh, look at those apes. And the production by actually trying to bribe him with these great kind of movie parts, because Dune's a really, sweet movie part, and then Frosty may have, just topped off, his ascension to kind of stardom, so maybe they were trying to make something of Jason Momoa, but leaving Ray Fisher behind to really percolate on all of these things that had happened to him. They should have kept Ray Fisher as distracted as possible, given that he was upset. He was clearly upset with what was happening. Maybe he was more of a diva. When I say diva, I just mean maybe not like he was actually doing anything bad, but maybe he was speaking up more against the abuse than Jason Momoa was, and that's why they decided to let him be the one who falls to the wayside and not give him the opportunities that they were giving Jason Momoa. Plus, Jason Momoa was the biggest star. But here's what really bothers me about this. So it says, speaking up about the shitty way we were treated on Justice League's reshoots. So were you treated in a shitty way, or were you treated in a gross and abusive? Because a shitty way is still within the remit of it being your job. You don't have to take it. You can walk on set and just say, I don't want to do this anymore because you're treating me in a shitty way. That's an employee's right to do. You don't have to stay there. You have no legal obligation to be treated like shit. So you can walk off. And yeah, they could say your contract, but if you can prove that they were treating you like shit, you could say, well, I suppose that they hadn't violated. It's hard for me to understand, and it's hard for any of us to understand because we don't work on film sets, so we don't really know. So any of the channels trying to pretend like they know everything and they know what it's like and trying to put yourself in those shoes, we don't. Where no, in comparison to what is happening there in terms of being a movie star, being famous, what the contracts are like, can you walk off stage? Because I certainly could from my job. If anyone, buddy's treating me shit at my job and I can't take it, I literally just walk out. Literally, it doesn't. I take a certain amount of, people treating me like shit, but I've walked out of pretty much every job I've been in. where the people were treating me like shit. I just was like, one day, I'm ill, can't come to work. Boom, I'm done with it. And they won't. Many of them haven't seen me again. So I don't know. And obviously they can't sue me in that sense. But if you start a film and you don't finish it, can Jason Momoa be sued for, not completing his contract or something like that? Because it's $1 million film, and it's like, if he walks off, that's a lot of money on the floor that they have to redo everything again. But I can't see, if you're just being treated in a shitty way, just saying, look, I'm not coming to work today. Fuck this. Until you tell this director to sort himself out with what he's doing, I'm just not coming to work. He can't treat people like that. He can't treat the cast and crew in this kind of ways. I mean, can you imagine if he really did, which I don't believe, lock up Gal Gadot and threaten Gal Gadot, because she wasn't big then. She was still, Wonder Woman hadn't come out when she was filming this stuff. So if he was threatening her, telling her, I'll get you. And this is the other problem I have, because I'm pretty sure that Jason Momoa, basically the three guys who were new are going to be the ones who were most annoyed by this. So basically, Jason Momoa would be annoyed by this. The Flash Ezra Miller would be annoyed by the reshoots, and even Ben Affleck would have been annoyed by the reshoots, and Cyborg definitely, because I think what Warner Brothers did is they saw the success of Wonder Woman, they saw that blow up, and they saw like the reaction to BVS, and they wanted to. The main things they did was change Superman to be more lighthearted, possibly give the Flash more jokes, make Batman more jokey, which probably displeased Ben Affleck, because he was just acting like he wasn't even there anymore. So Ben Affleck's Batman gets more jokey. So Ben Affleck's Batman gets more jokey. So he could have been pissed off by that. He may have complained. Ray Fisher, Jason Momoa, and the Flash get their parts seriously cut, so they would have complained. But Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot, gets more of a leadership role. They try and put her more front and center. That's probably what Warner Brothers said to Joss Whedon. Because I don't think she was that front and center. I think Zack Snyder's whole focus was on making Batman look cool. Making this movie was for Ben. Ben was the star. Ben was the Batman. Batman's the coolest. I'm going to make Batman look cool. That's what his job, that's what he was interested in doing in Justice League. So he was like, Batman's the leader. Batman's going to run things. Everyone else is his bitches until Superman arrives, right? So basically, I think Gal Gadot might have been more happy with what was going on with the Joss Whedon cut in terms of her role. I actually think that, like, it made her more of a leader, more of Batman's equal, which was more in alignment with what was going on in her own movie, Wonder Woman. So I suspect she probably thought it was a crappy product. I don't know how good Zack Snyder's was, so she probably thought, wow, this is a shit product with me as more of a leader, and this is a shit product with me as just Batman's bitch. So I don't know which one is better. So that would be Zack Snyder with her just being Batman's bitch. And I think they were trying to make her romantically involved with Batman as well in Zack Snyder's version, as well as Joss Whedon took the bait on that kind of thing as well. So again, I don't know, like, because I've seen that she has not been very passionate about advocating the Snyder Cut. I do not think Gal Gadot likes what happens to her and her character in the Snyder Cut or the Justice League film in general. I think it was majorly disrespectful what happened when she fought Superman in and I've got a video on it saying that is not how Wonder Woman would face Superman in any comics, and for him to beat her like that after she just rescued the DCEU from, if Wonder Woman was shit, if Wonder Woman was a failure, the whole DCEU would be fucked. It would have drowned and they would have given up. Literally would have given up, because Wonder Woman would have been a failure, then Justice League a failure. Warner Brothers would have packed it up. So Wonder Woman being like that, doing so successfully, she was the Iron Man of the team. When people were more coming, I think, to see Wonder Woman in Justice League, in the Justice League movie, than they were interested in seeing Batman or Superman. So it was major disrespect, because she was, I would argue, people were equally as excited about her as Batman in BVS. So her treatment was bad. So my point is this, that I don't think Gal Gadot would be that much against reshooting the movie, because she'd be in a shit movie, but she'd be the lead and be getting a little bit more respect as a leader in the Justice League, even though they didn't fix the scene where she gets beaten the fuck out of by Superman. And then the last guy is Henry Cavill, and Henry Cavill certainly would have appreciated what Josh Whedon did in terms of making his character Superman. Again, it didn't work out. It was a shit take on Superman. It was a Christopher Reeves ripoff, and I don't think it worked. I don't like Zack Snyder's take either. I think they're both bad, but this was just wholly unoriginal. It was wholly unoriginal and didn't humanize Superman. It just made it didn't really do anything for anybody, any character. It harmed every character in the Justice League, was harmed by being in it. Their IP, it went down. But I will say this, that given the circumstances, I don't know that that there would have been so much pushback from Henry Cavill, because Henry Cavill had already openly come out and said Zack Snyder kind of fucked up his Superman. He basically stated like, yeah, the way Zack Snyder's been doing Superman hasn't really caught on in the way it was supposed to. So we have 4 potentially disgruntled people. I think the Flash was in the Josh Whedon cut. I don't think he would have been as disrespectful to Ezra Miller as I think the main people he would have been disrespectful to and abusive to, apart from the crew and the SFX guys, and maybe even Junkie XL, was Ray Fisher and Jason Momoa. Or Jason Momoa, I see him as the kind of guy who would stand up for, the crew. He's a man of the people. He's Jason Momoa, right? So he's the type of guy who's going to really stand his ground against, if there's people abusing people who are lower down the chain than him, like crew members. So if Josh Whedon was shouting at them, doing all of that shit, I could see Jason Momoa stepping in and saying, "What the fuck are you doing? I'll take you, knock you out if you continue talking to the crew like this," and fights ensuing and people wanting to, make complaints to, Jeff Johns and John Berg, and them just ignoring it or even adding fuel to the fire. So in any case, that's my take on the whole Jason Momoa coming out with these further allegations. I still think innocent until proven guilty. I will keep on saying that these are just Twitter comments. They are not proof. They are not evidence. We do not know both sides. I am only speculating as a YouTuber. But I will say This adds some credibility, but why are we doing this on Twitter? This could be done to you, Jason Momoa. You must understand that. I respect that you're trying to stick up for your friend and you're trying to, show him support. But some woman, some random woman on the set of Justice League can come out tomorrow and say, Jason Momoa abused me on Twitter and try and cancel you just like that with no evidence. It's not a good practice. It's dangerous practice. Do things the proper way. Do things the professional way. And you'll be rewarded for it. Anyway, that's me. I love you 3000. And Jason Momoa, I just wanted to get on here and react, respond to what was happening. Love you 3000, guys. Give me a high five, like, subscribe, and do comment. I love the comments. And I always answer to them. Bye-bye.